Welcome to Truth is Now Treason, a podcast that annihilates the lies but defends justice and truth, particularly the truth.
Welcome to Truth is Now Treason. I'm Dietrich, and she is Lennox. Today, we're going to be talking about what is happening at Texas Children's Hospital. Now, if you're not familiar with what is happening there, don't feel bad because the media is doing everything it can to keep this from coming out.
And I didn't know about this story.
Yeah, we're shocked by that, Lennox.
I've been watching Your Honor on Netflix. And I use VidAngel, by the way, to block out all the cussing.
Yeah, if there's a show that needed the VidAngel, it's Your Honor. Great show, but it needs the blocking.
I've been tuning out the news, watching Your Honor, so I'm guilty.
Lennox is the binge queen.
Yeah, so TCH, the Texas Children's Hospital, it's located in Houston, Texas, and it is the largest children's hospital in our country, United States. Those at this hospital have been breaking the law. Imagine that. This is the same city that elected a mayor, and the mayor mandated the preachers in Houston to submit their sermon notes so she could screen what the preachers were preaching about in the churches. Now, you talk about a clear violation of the law. There it is. And so now we've got a hospital that's breaking the law. Now, to understand this, the Texas Medicaid Provider Procedures Manual, in that manual, it says that sex change operations are not benefits of Texas Medicaid, which means you can't use Medicaid dollars to pay for them. In 2021, Texas Medicaid officials stated that this prohibition was not limited to just the genital surgeries, but it explicitly excludes coverage of all gender-affirming health services, which means things like hormonal treatments, giving puberty blockers, and things like that.
So in the state of Texas, you can't perform the butchering that the left calls gender-affirming care using Medicaid dollars. So good for Texas, but as usual, there's people who are going to fight this, and Texas Children's Hospital has been, and they've been hiding it.
A couple years ago, back in May of 2022, this specific hospital announced it had stopped providing transgender therapies for minors after Governor Abbott of Texas ordered the state's child welfare agency to investigate reports of gender-affirming care for kids as abuse. And what they found out is that this hospital never did stop. It was all a ruse and a lie.
Yeah, so basically what the governor, the great governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, did, he said, hey, we're going to actually make sure that people are abiding by this law, that you cannot do this to a child because it's abuse. Good for him. You know, that's a kind of governor that I wish all 50 states have.
So in other words, they were still doing it and they lied about it and they got caught.
Exactly, because a whistleblower came out. His name is Dr. Ethan Haim. He is a medical professional who is finishing his residency at the hospital. Now, he told the media that TCH was continuing to administer cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers to minors. So as a result of this, in June of 2023, federal agents visited Haim. Federal agents came to a whistleblower's door, and the AUSA, Tina Ansari, threatened him with prosecution.
This person came to his door from the Biden DOJ and threatened him, like Dietrich said. He ended up being indicted. So the Biden administration, we call it the Biden regime, accused him now, saying that he was in the wrong. They charged him on 4 counts, alleging that he got hold of personal information of patients' names, treatment codes, and the attending physician using the hospital's electronic system without authorization, which means they're accusing him of violating the HIPAA law. And Haim is saying that's not true, okay, that he did have access and he didn't violate anything.
But when it comes to Biden's DOJ, the DOJ stands for Department of Jacking You Around. And that's exactly what they were doing to Haim.
Well, jacking you around if you're telling the truth.
What?
They won't go after themselves.
Yeah. So after learning about Haim's actions, there was a nurse at TCH named Vanessa Savage. She disclosed more information revealing that doctors were encouraging confused patients to undergo sex change procedures. Now, she was later visited by the FBI. They allegedly threatened her, saying that she was not safe at work.
So this is the FBI that was created to protect American citizens, not threaten them.
And the FBI stands for beating your head in.
So these two whistleblowers pointed out that there were 2 doctors on staff that were doing this large number of transgender teenage patients. The last names of these 2 doctors were Roberts and Paul, and these were the 2 that had allegedly been billing the state Medicaid program, which means they shouldn't have been doing it, but they've been using Texas tax dollars to pay for these services.
So as a result of all this, Brian Harrison, he is a state representative in Texas. He called for the Texas House of Representatives to hold an emergency meeting to look into, and I quote, recent allegations of lawfare by Biden's Department of Justice against whistleblowers exposing illegal and abusive sex change procedures on Texas children and possible Medicaid fraud by Texas Children's Hospital, unquote.
And he's 100% right to do this. There is a Texas state law and there are federal laws that protect whistleblowers. The Texas Whistleblower Act, okay, that's the state law, the Texas state law. It protects public employees, right, who make good faith reports of violations of law by their employer to an appropriate law enforcement authority.
And then we also have federal law because the National Security Act of 1947 and the Presidential Policy Directive 19 says it's unlawful for an agency to take action affecting an employee's eligibility for access to classified information in reprisal for making a protected disclosure. So what does all that legalese mean? If you go and you report that your employer is breaking the law, the government cannot come down on you and your employer cannot come down on you.
Yeah, this is the way that we hold government accountable, is through these acts that protect whistleblowers. But these protections mean nothing to the Biden regime, especially a Biden regime that's hell-bent on destroying families and the youth of this nation. They've been lawless for the last 3 to 4 years. We've seen that.
But Trump was the one who had 34 felony counts.
That no one even really understands. Listen to what Dr. Ethan Haim, who is facing a trial where he could get a 10-year jail sentence. Listen to what he had to say on the Laura Ingraham show.
He said, and I quote, standing in that courtroom and hearing those words, facing up to 10 years in federal prison is terrifying. You think about everything I could miss, my family, the birth of my first daughter, the first few years of her life. But there's something greater to fear, and that's the fear of not doing something.
He goes on to say, and I quote, what kind of world is that going to be if we don't stand up? We need to win, because if we lose, the door closes permanently on whistleblowers in our healthcare system, unquote.
And that's exactly what the left wants. They want to close the door on anyone who would point out how wicked they are. To permanently butcher and disfigure children is disgusting. And this is something they want us to celebrate.
They see disfiguring children as something to be protected. Don't think so? Well, then why is the Biden regime breaking the law to put a whistleblower in jail, if you don't believe me? Because they believe that Ethan Haim is the criminal and that he must pay because Ethan exposed their evil. That's what makes him bad.
You know, if we don't take a stand now, then when? I like what Ethan Haim said. There's something greater to fear, and that's the fear of not doing something. These children are defenseless, and there's a political machine out there seeking to mow them down. We understand that children don't understand the permanency of some actions. Why don't we allow children to smoke? They don't understand how that can damage them. Why don't we allow children to get tattoos? Because they're not going to pick ones that look as cool as mine.
Mm-hmm. We don't allow children to vote until they've become 18 years of age. Why do we let them have sex change before then? We shouldn't. One of our favorite sayings right now is this: the only thing needed for evil men to succeed is for good men to do nothing. And we stand by these two whistleblowers. And the way that we can stand with them, traders, we got to share. We've got to get the word out there. We got to tell people what the Biden administration is doing. I think a lot of people aren't even aware of how they're attacking. This administration is attacking individual families. And I know if this was your child, if this was your spouse, you wouldn't be quiet about it, would you? I know you wouldn't. And so here's a way that we can show our support. They have a Give, Send, Go account set up for these two whistleblowers. And you can give some cash to help show your support. This is something that we have already done. And so we're asking that you will do it as well. By giving, you're showing the Biden administration how you will not tolerate its lawlessness. So if you want to give, we are putting the link in our podcast description. Or if you're on Facebook and you see our post, it should be there. We want you to help out and be sure to share, traders. Get the word out there because we stand with Ethan. We stand with this Vanessa.
Until next time, my fellow traders.